one should always have a definite objective. In a walk, as in life, it is so much more satisfying to reach a target by personal effort than to wander aimlessly. An objective is an ambition, and life without ambition is, well, aimless wandering.
The late Alfred Wainwright was a man full of effort and ambition. The much-loved fell walker created for us one of the great walking challenges. From west coast to east coast, the ambition for me is simple: to walk across the whole of England. Hello and welcome to the top of the North York Moors. This inn here at Blakey Ridge is perhaps the most obvious overnight spot on the entire coast-to-coast walk. From this lofty position, it's downhill for me as I begin the final stretch of this great walk. The North Sea, here I come. There's been a farmhouse here since the 16th century. But it's only in the last 35 years that people started walking 162 miles just to get here. Exhausted coast-to-coast walkers would be unwise to arrive here without a reservation. It's a fair old way to the next nearest bed. But once inside, you'll find an inn resounding with tales of adventures acquired on the route from the Irish Sea. So this is it, the beginning of the end, as it were, but there's no time to reminisce just yet. I've still plenty of moorland to cover, a glut of Yorkshire villages and a dramatic coastline, if the legs can hold up. And if they can, well, I can say that I've walked from one side of England to the other. And that's something I'm looking forward to.
Whatever the condition of your blisters, you will really enjoy this last section to the bay. Many walkers will consider this stage the best of all, quite apart from the satisfaction of accomplishing a mission.
By now, I'm already deep into the third national park on Wainwright's simple-looking route. From the Lion Inn, there's just 27 miles separating me from the coastline. The final moors, valleys and woods await before a triumphant arrival along the cliffs to my destination. So for one last time, let's take a look at what this section of the walk looks like from the air. Leaving the Lion Inn, I'll spend the first 7 miles striding out across the top of the moors. The route rounds the head of Great Fryupdale, with a view onto the green fields from my lofty path. The long finger of Glaisdale Rig takes me down slowly into the Eskdale Valley and through the 3 villages of Glaisdale, Egton Bridge and lastly Gromont, home of the North York Moors Steam Railway. The climb out of Eskdale is a true landmark. Here is my first view of the North Sea. Quickly disappears though as I head down into the tranquil Littlebeck Valley. From here, it's all about reaching the end of my great adventure, across the fields, finally arriving on the cliffs, south of Whitby. The coast-to-coast ends with a lap of honour. 2 miles of cliff-top strolling that lead to the coastal village that's been my ambition for so long, Robin Hood's Bay. You might be wondering what this is doing out here. Well, it, or she, is known as Fat Betty, and even Wainwright has done a little drawing of her. This part of the moors is littered with an assortment of stone monuments and obelisks. Most have a mythical story attached to them and have long been a landmark for travellers and wayfarers plotting their path across these exposed lands. It is tradition to leave a food offering for the next walker. Someone's left a hard-boiled sweet. I'm going to take that and I'm going to leave a muesli bar.
A branch to the right leads to the solitary building now in sight. This is Trough House, a shooting box roughly furnished, and such an excellent refuge that one almost wishes it would rain cats and dogs, so that advantage could be taken of its shelter.
Well, you wouldn't want to be stuck up here in winter, but the setting is majestic. And a few hundred yards away is the head of the bizarrely named Great Fry-Up Dale. What's a fry-up got to do with the goddess of beauty? That valley. It's not named after eggs and bacon, even though it's called Fry-Up Dale. It's named after the Norse goddess of beauty, Freya. And it's lovely, isn't it? The Old English word for a remote valley was hop, making this valley Freya's Hop, or over the course of centuries, the rather more amusing Fry-Up. When you look at the map, you can make out the shapes of the moors and the valleys. This is Fry-Up Dale, surrounded by high fingers of land on either side, one of which is Glaisdale Rig, and that is my last bit of upland before I head down to the villages below. The approach to the first village is like a scene from a road movie. There's a huge 3-mile-long track that slowly descends along Glaisdale Rig. With the final flowering heather of the summer still surviving, this is a suitably open and windswept goodbye to the last stretch of consistent high ground on the coast to coast. And it leads you all the way to Glaisdale. Apart from the Lion Inn, which is a solitary building, this is actually the first real outpost of humanity since Ingleby Cross, and that was before the moors, about 30 miles back. In Glaisdale, humanity is of a fairly unobtrusive kind, though. Not too much of a shock to the system. And there's one particularly peaceful landmark, easily the most photographed and sketched structure in town. The 17th century Beggar's Bridge was built by a local lad, desperate to find an easier way to woo his lover on the other side of the river. Sadly, the coast to coast doesn't actually cross Beggar's Bridge, but that's no reason not to try it out. A short walk through dense woodland is all it takes to reach the next village in Eskdale, Egton Bridge. Here there really is a chance to cross the River Esk before path, river and railway line all follow the valley floor for 2 miles to the third and largest village, Gromont. Gromont is a lot less sleepy than its neighbouring villages. It's got shops, some pubs, and it's even got its own railway. Look at that. She's a beauty. The North York Moors Railway. And this was here long before Wainwright invented, thought, or even dreamt of the coast-to-coast route. Gromont Station has been here since the 1830s, but today it's an attraction that remains permanently in the 1950s. For 300,000 visitors each year, very little has changed since steam enthusiast Alfred Wainwright first arrived here on his passage across the country.
This line, which was a branch from Whitby to Pickering, was axed by British Rail in 1965, part of the Beeching Cuts, but was taken over.
So how did it manage to survive Beeching?
A band of railway enthusiasts got together and in 1967 acquired the old track, which hadn't been taken up. It was 18 miles of it across the moors to Pickering. But they preserved everything. The signal boxes, the signals are still there.
So this is a compulsory detour off the coast-to-coast walk, is it?
Yes, actually, the coast-to-coast walk comes across a level crossing.
The star of the show in Gromont today is Sir Nigel Gresley, a beautifully styled A4 class locomotive that once pulled express services at over 100 miles an hour.
Oh, it's a mighty beast!
So while the Gresley makes its way to the engine shed, I'm off to meet one of the engine drivers, who, rather like Wainwright, has let his passion turn into a full-time occupation.
So, Fletcher, this must be one of the most punctual and good-looking railway lines in the country.
Well, hopefully so. I mean, we do our best. We are busier than many, what you can say, network rail or British rail, railway line depots, etc.
Everybody wants to come and see steam trains, don't they?
Yeah, it's like stepping back 50 years, coming into downtown Gromont.
I mean, it's proper boys with toys, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still possible to attain, come off the street, yeah, and be taught, trained, whatever you want to call it, and then experience to handle one of these. I mean, it'd probably take you 10 years to become a driver.
I'm very tempted to catch a lift, actually, and head the Whitby way on this, because that's towards the end of the coast-to-coast
Of
route.
course, yes. And it's the final day, more or less, isn't it? Because you're off to Robin Hood's Bay from here.
Yep.
Oh,
And, of
yes.
course, Wainwright came here. He had a go on the choo-choos.
He did, really. I think it was 1989, was it? I think, somewhere
Yep.
like that. I think we could relate to him because, to him, something like this, I can understand him being interested and perhaps even a little bit excited about the place. It was of his generation, wasn't it? These more so than myself.
Yeah, I mean, they're incredibly gorgeous to look at. You know, good-looking beasts, but they must require an awful lot of maintenance.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's why the railways actually did away with them. I mean, these are more difficult to handle than any woman, really.
Do you think so?
I think so.
Guess that
I mean,
depends on the woman,
sort
really.
of experience, but they're temperamental. You never know what they're going to do next sometimes. But
I tell you what, before I
know.
go, can I have a little look inside?
Yes, yeah. I think we'll
got
let you have a
to.
look on board. Yeah, why not? You've come all this way. Yeah,
Well, let's
yeah,
look.
yeah.
Show me how to mount this beast.
Right, Julie, it's on to the footplate of this famous locomotive, shall we?
That's like rock climbing getting up here.
Oh, I think you'll be quite used to it.
There we go.
Let me have your sight. Shall I get it?
Wow.
There you go.
It's hot still in here,
Still
isn't
quite
it?
hot, isn't it? Why
So-
don't you take your seat over there into the driver's seat? You'll be admired by all and sundry who are in charge of this famous locomotive. And
Feels good.
think,
Where's the toot toot?
the toot toot, the whistle, yes, is that little red lever at front of you down there. Perhaps
This.
if you just pull that back towards it,
Okay, are we ready?
spring-loaded, and see what happens, shall we?
Okay, and...
Lifetime's ambition achieved, eh?
That really is. That is
It's better than
brilliant.
the diesel horns, isn't it? That's
certainly
a proper warning sound. that,
Fletch,
isn't
you've made
it?
my
Yeah.
day.
Well, you've been spoilt.
One more.
Leaving the railway means it's also time to leave the Eskdale Valley. From here, there's just 16 short miles to reach the end of this great adventure. So with half your mind on the coast already, I've no doubt that the climb out of Gromont takes most coast-to-coasters somewhat by surprise.
Oh, I can just hear the steam engine. That is a hill and a half. Oh, but look at that. The whole of Eskdale laid out on a plate. Gromont, the woods, Glaisdale, and even the moors beyond. See, he says, go over the level crossing and up the steep road beyond, open brackets, 1 in 3. That just doesn't really let you know the full extent of the pain that you're going to go through, does it? But this is the last steep climb of the walk, and then, hopefully, all being well, a sight will be revealed that every coast-to-coaster waits patiently for.
So it's on with the cold weather gear one more time as I break out onto the very last summit of the journey.
The moment of arrival at Flat How is historic, for a view is here revealed that has been anticipated eagerly. From this ancient burial mound can be seen ahead the Promised Land. And see.
There it is, the North Sea. That silhouette you can just make out is Whitby Abbey, and if you cast your eyes round to the right, those craggy silhouettes in the grey mist are the cliffs around Robin Hood's Bay. I can smell the ending.
As finishing straights go, this is certainly a long one. Perhaps that's only fitting after days and days of eating up nearly 200 miles. And there's still time for Wainwright to throw in a few surprises. The first involving a 900-foot descent into the almost unimaginable valley of Littlebeck.
According to the man, this is a miniature Arcadia embowered in trees, a glimpse of heaven for nerve-frayed town dwellers. It's also a welcome change from the bleakness of the moors.
There's something slightly unreal about Littlebeck. It's undeniably beautiful, but it seems so unconnected with the rest of the outside world. It feels like I've wandered into a nursery rhyme. A good time for a spot of reflection on this grand adventure.
Hi, Mark. Good to see you again.
Oh, it's great to see you.
My old acquaintance Mark Richards is a travel writer himself, but more importantly, he was a friend and walking partner of Alfred Wainwright.
Through the Kissing Gate. As a travel writer, as an outdoor writer,
Absolutely.
how inspirational was Wainwright to you?
Fundamental to me, in actual fact, all those years ago, back in the early 1970s, I had the golden opportunity, and I'm very fortunate that I actually got to know him and visited him and engaged in his whole world, his outdoor world, the creative world, and it influenced me tremendously.
How would you describe his style, if you had to describe the Wainwright way when it comes to prose and writing and outdoor excitement?
Oh, his style, well, it was obviously unique. It came from another age, and his books were so distinct and different, and they embodied his personality in such a way that I was riveted by them.
A lot of people say that he grew in confidence by the time it came to Coast. His prose was a little more flowery, the sentences, the paragraphs were longer. I mean, there are pages and pages of writing in Coast to Coast, whereas there were little nuggets before in some of the pictorial guides, weren't
Yes.
they?
Well, yes, he didn't waste words. But when he came to a long trail, he was explaining a good deal more about the environment, the landscape, the heritage that was there, and he was learning himself as he went along. You know, he's a brilliant artist, wonderful command of the English language, and what a way of bringing it all together in a way that nobody could match.
You actually walked sections of the Coast to Coast with AW in those very early days when he was inventing the walk, coming up with it, didn't you?
Yeah, it was just when he was coming to the tail end of the whole process of bringing the Coast to Coast together.
So come on, give us the secrets. How did he actually construct the walk? Where did he start? Where did he begin? How did it all fit together in his mind?
He didn't know the North York Moors very well at all. So he came over this side and he actually walked from Richmond across the Vale of Mowbray with its notorious road stations and then across the escarpment and came to Robin Hood's Bay. And once he realised that that worked, then he backtracked to the Lake District and went to St Bees and worked his way through. But of course...
So he did it backwards?
He did it backwards and forwards. He just sort of disjointed in a certain respect, but of course he meant he was in full command of it. He knew the Lake District section worked.
Yeah.
He left the cream on the cake for the Westmoreland Plateau, where I joined him, and 09 Standard Rig and through Swaledale, and his great moment was the arrival in Richmond.
As an outdoor writer, as a travel writer, how well constructed in hindsight do you think the Coast to Coast route is? Is it spot on?
I think for the length of route, for the diversity it offers, it's as near as a perfect route. Of course, his whole idea for doing the Coast to Coast wasn't to do one route that everybody will follow. He was trying to encourage people to think more laterally about how they could make their own adventures and challenges, because life's all about adventures and challenges and having moments of joy and misery and all that, and it all comes together on a long-distance route.
As a writer, the Coast to Coast was arguably Wainwright's own biggest adventure, and he managed it with the support and love of his true soulmate and second wife, Betty. But shortly before I set off on my own walk from St Bees, I was saddened to hear that AW's 86-year-old widow had passed away.
This was one of his spots that he liked, wasn't it?
Yes, it's a very charming scene.
I was lucky to have met Betty just before she passed away, and she was a feisty, strong woman, wasn't she?
She's very energetic, very industrious. She opened new horizons to him, and her love and affection and generosity, he grew from, and she brought people into his life that he'd closed himself away from.
And you're in this privileged position of having walked with AW and with Betty and you. There aren't very many people that can say that, Mark.
Well, I was very fortunate, and they were both very generous to me and very encouraging. AW was very encouraging. It's, he saw my enthusiasm for pen and ink drawing and my love of the countryside, and I suppose he was sharing with me something of his own passion, and to this day I'm happy that I've met him and Betty. They were wonderful to me.
Before I leave you, let's check the master's log here.
Oh, absolutely.
And see how far I've got to go. Here we go, log of the journey.
Down here.
Right, so we are Littlebeck.
Which is just there.
So he works out that's, you see, that's typical Wainwright. 178 and a quarter.
A quarter? This is like old milestones, isn't
With
it?
190 to go, so...
It's 11 and 3/4.
11 and 3/4.
My. It's almost there.
Nearly there. Mark, thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure as usual.
Pleasure as ever.
As ever. Au revoir.
Wish me luck with the last 11.
I
Legs
will
11.
indeed. Au revoir.
And so thoughts turn entirely to the North Sea. For these last few miles, you can forget your aches and pains. The blisters no longer seem a distraction. It's best foot forward with a surge of new energy across flat fields straight to the village of Horsker. Absolutely without doubt the last settlement before Robin Hood's Bay.
Don't believe this sign if you're following AW to the letter. You'll have to add an extra couple of miles, and you can put those down to experience.
It's no surprise that AW wanted to complete his great adventure with a flourish. And I certainly haven't come this far not to end it properly. The main road to Robin Hood's Bay would have been no way to round off my coast to coast.
This is what we came to see. This is where we come right alongside the North Sea. This was a very satisfying moment to get here and know that nothing now can stop you from completing the walk. And for the next 3 or 4 miles, walking along the edge of the cliffs, quite as impressive as these. And then, quite suddenly, you turn a little corner, you see Robin Hood's Bay below you, all the little red-tiled roofs. So...
Quite a moment, this, after
Quite a moment, yes.
180-odd miles.
Yeah, we're very nearly there now.
I have walked across England, but it's not over yet.
Almost 3 weeks ago, I set out from St Bees. Since then, I've been drenched and dried out too many times to remember. I've scaled the ranges of the lakes, trampled the bogs of the Pennines and the roads of the Vale of Mowbray, crossed the Cleveland Hills and the moors. And here I am once again, 300 feet above the crashing waves. But this is a walk of triumph, not expectation. People are drawn here for all manner of reasons. Some try the coast to coast for the challenge itself. Others for the exploration and discovery, or the friends and the acquaintances. But then there are those who come back again and again, always learning something new about Northern England and about themselves.
Did you know in 1991 a guy called Mike Hartley ran the Coast to Coast walk in under 40 hours? That's quite depressing, isn't it? And of course speed was never an issue for Wainwright.
Who knows just how many thousands have completed what I'm about to end? But the adventure today remains almost exactly as it did in 1973, when the Coast to Coast was first published. It's remarkable how much of Northern England hasn't changed a bit.
There is Robin Hood's Bay. A little winkle of a place.
Wainwright saves the much-anticipated final view till the very last minute. I'm not surprised he chose to avoid the grand towns of Whitby and Scarborough and end his walk in the quirky, more personal setting of Robin Hood's Bay.
St Bees Head and Robin Hood's Bay are names that are so firmly etched in your mind throughout this walk that actually to be here now is genuinely exciting.
But I'm sure the vast majority of the crowds here are totally unaware of the personal achievement about to occur in front of them. You could say this walk's conclusion is a little understated, but there's plenty of opportunity for a private celebration.
Well, at least I know where to go and have a drink in a minute. Wainwright's Bar.
Go forward and put your boot in the first saltwater puddle. By this ritual, you will have completed a walk from one side of England to the other.
Here's the moment, the dipping of the toe. Come on! Ha ha ha! And here's my pebble from St Bees to Robin Hood's Bay. The Coast to Coast is more than just a walk. It's an adventure. It's about the people you meet, the stories you hear, and the history that you pass through. And it's about getting your feet wet. Over the years, with the help of Alfred Wainwright, I've got to know his Lake District very well. And the northern hills, just like the lakes, rich in texture and diversity, despite some awful weather along the way, have been just as welcoming. Nearly 200 miles is a hefty walk, but a great journey. My Coast to Coast.